أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا رحمة للعالمين بالقاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد. والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the Creator that creates only beauty, and it requires the eyes to be able to see His beauty. The eyes that do not perceive the power, the might, the mercy, and all of His qualities are truly not functioning, and you can call them blind. But those eyes that you see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are not the eyes that you and I see. They are only means to be able to project an image inside of your brain that requires a mind to be able to see the beauty. So you can also say that someone that cannot see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a mind, does not have intellect. The true intellect is able to see the beauty in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Intellect is not IQ. IQ is not intellect. IQ basically means the processing power of the brain, utilized by that individual, which does not mean intellect. If a person has a high IQ and the processing power is high, but is not able to see the Creator in the creation, then really that person is not intelligent. Right? So when we talk that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything to be beautiful, those are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we talk about this world, this is also a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the choices that we make depend on our intellect. So a person of intellect would make different choices than a person of non-intellect. With me? When a person decides that they're going to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, truly, if you think about it, they're void of that aql, which we translate into English as intellect. I'll tell you an anecdote and then see if you can understand what aql is. Aql is from the word iqal. Iqal is a rope that the Arabs used to use, in our words, to park the camel. Okay. Or, what do you have in the car? That's like a handbrake. Right? I don't know what you call it in England, but it's a handbrake. So once the handbrake is there, the car is not going to move. There was a Bedouin that heard that the Prophet has come and he's got teachings. So he came to listen to the Prophet in the mosque. And after he had heard the Prophet, he goes outside and his camel is no longer there. So he started shouting and screaming that, what type of a Prophet is this, that I come to see him and I lost my camel. So the Prophet got to him and said, when you came in, did you put the iqal on the camel? Did you put that rope by which the camel would not go anywhere? And he said, no, I came to see the Prophet, I should not be having any loss. Right? So that's why I just left it and I went inside. The Prophet said, no, you should have put the iqal, because that camel is an animal. It's run by its instinct. You, who should not have been just instinct, you should have had intellect, you should have put that iqal on that camel's legs. And told the companions to go find that camel and get him to quiet down. So iqal is actually that rope which a man or a woman of intellect utilizes to park or refrain the lowly desires or the animal inside. So a person who does not utilize that intellect that can put that rope, can control that animal inside of us, then that person truly does not have intellect. Okay. So the choices that we make, they have to be based on intellect. Not IQ, again, not the processing power. Because if that was the case, then the person who has the highest processing power known today should not have been, in that position where he says that there is no God. When he himself happens to be on a wheelchair, that if he was to say to him that could this wheelchair be in existence without a manufacturer, he would reply, no. But when it comes to the creation, he says that there is no creator. And not on top of that, but he's going and looking for the aliens that exist. That is teamed up with a businessman to find out life on other planets. So the life on this planet has no creator, so therefore, in his logic, the rest of the life that he's going to find would be of no creator. And when you keep on looking at the people who claim to have intellect, you see that really they don't have it. Because the basics they have lost. In basics they have gotten corrupted. They don't understand in reality what is the reality, so therefore all the choices they're going to make are not going to be the choices of intellect, but of their own lowly desires. This is one of the main differences between a mu'min, a believer, and a non-believer. A mu'min looks at this world as a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by utilizing these means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, a mu'min reaches that point where he understands that all that there is beauty, and God is beauty, and any beauty requires a certain amount of reverence and love. And out of that love, that person decides not to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that love dictates in his life or in her life in every single aspect. And because of this love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person does not choose the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but decides to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as far as this is, so all of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has created is beautiful. With me? So this is the point. In yesterday's Majlis, if I remember correctly, or the Majlis before, we mentioned to you that this sort of problem that religion is facing, where they want to have a balance between the worldly life and the hereafter. You guys remember? Okay. No, we had given you some of the examples as well. And it's truly a problem. Because if this problem is not solved in our minds, then a lot of confusion and a lot of stress is going to be there. So this is like a life-changing concept that if you can understand, you'll feel a lot better, you'll feel a lot at peace, you'll have a direction and you can follow that direction. So what is the definition of the world? We know so much that whatever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created is beautiful, and He does not create anything which is not beautiful or ugly. But when you look at Nahjul Balagha, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam describes the world. He describes dunya as what? As an old woman with leprosy holding the intestines of a pig. Is that beautiful? An old woman with leprosy. Leprosy, for the children who don't know, is a disease by which the skin and the flesh of a human being starts melting. It just starts melting and slowly just disappears, and there's a lot of smell, and it's just that person is just hard to look at, and you cannot be in that person's presence. So he's saying an old woman with leprosy holding in her hands the intestines of a pig. He says that is dunya. So when you look at that definition, it does not look beautiful. We said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only creates beauty. So what is this world that Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam is describing? Is that created by God, or is it created by us? By us. Because whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in this world, He has created it beautiful. And it's actually a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by which a person of intellect who can see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can utilize these means to get closer to Him. With me? So then there must be something else that is the definition of the world. It cannot be what we comprehend it to be. So what is the definition? I was hoping there would be a little bit more people before we can give you the definition, but it's okay. Because ourselves, time is something that doesn't really matter to us that much. Do you know what is the most precious thing in this universe? The most precious thing in this universe is time. By which definition of precious? Anything which is found to be the least amount, it is precious. Therefore you have diamond are precious, gold is precious, right? All of these things are precious. And the stones that are found a little bit more than diamonds, they're called semi-precious stones. The definition of something precious is uniqueness, to be less. And what is the least that you and I have in this world? Is time. How less it is? The Holy Prophet as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam describes, he describes the life of this world versus the life of the hereafter. He says that if you were to have an ocean and you were to take the tip of this finger and just touch the water, the amount of water that will come on the tip of your finger is the life of this world, and the ocean is the hereafter. The ocean is the life after this world, and the life here is that water on the tip of your finger. How much it is? Nothing. How less it is. How precious it would be, because this is the time in this world that would dictate the rest of your life in the hereafter. So by that definition, the most precious thing that you and I have is actually the time in this world. And it is this that we misuse and do the most amount of israf. Right? If you happen to have 100 pounds and you were to say that, divide this 100 pounds between 10 people and give them 10 pounds each. If you gave one person 50 pounds, how much would you have left? 50. Would you be able to give 10 pounds to every person? No. When you have a limited amount of time and there are so many things that are needing time, when you end up distributing without realizing that at the end of the day you have things that don't get time. And majority of the time that is religion. I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, I don't have time to do that. Why do we not have time to do such and such? Because we distribute it without realizing that we have a limited amount, and if we give something to Bollywood 3 hours, or Netflix 2.5 hours, or PS4 2.5 hours, right? Or Facebook an hour. If we keep on distributing like that, in the end, your family would be asking, can you give me some time? And say, I'm sorry, I'm all out. Your children would be asking, Dad, can you give us some time? I'm sorry, I'm all out. Quran will be saying, can you give me some time? Say, I'm sorry, I'm all out. Same thing for religion as well. So time actually is the most precious thing, and for us as Muslims, we should be the ones who should take this time to be the most precious. But we're the ones who waste it the most. Right? Especially because in our perception, in our mind, in our belief it is that this is a limited abode. That we are created in this world for a limited amount of time. And this limited amount of time would determine the rest of our eternity. So therefore a Muslim should be counting time not in hours or days or months or years, but in seconds. That I'm not going to waste this 1 second because I only have a limited amount. So here, we'll give you the definition now of what this world is, and think about it. So here's the definition. So whatever your eyes can see is not the world that has been condemned by Imam Ali or Aimma or Quran or the Holy Prophet. With me? So whatever your eyes can see is actually beautiful, and it is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you have to utilize as means to get to that end, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So far clear? Okay. So, can you see this? Right? So would you say this is a worldly thing? Is it a worldly thing? It's not a worldly thing. Why? Because you can see it. And I said anything that you can see is actually a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is beautiful. It's not condemned. With me? I could have maybe should have used the phone as an example. So I can use that, it's okay. If I can find one, if you can recite aloud. Okay, so is this phone a worldly thing? Urdu ke andar ye dunya ki cheez hai. Is this a worldly thing? By the definition that I've already given to you, then this is not a worldly thing. What is it? What is it? It's a phone, I know, but what is it? It's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? It's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the ability to a human being to be able to utilize all of the raw material that He has created, to make them come together in a way with the things that He has created, to bring about that particular device that can hold the whole world in it, that can hold the whole Quran in it, right? That can hold the whole Bihar Anwar in it, that can hold this massive amount of information which is literally at your fingertips. The access is at your fingertips. Now how can this be a worldly thing? Right? And if I did have some money too, but I don't know. But just for a visual, I think we should do that. I'll have some. So, what is this? It's a 10 pounds, yeah. Is this a world? Is it a worldly thing? Ye dunya ki cheez hai? Is it a worldly thing? What is it then? It's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. True? By this sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can get nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By this sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can feed someone which is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By this you can utilize to be able to give that opportunity to an individual who is not able to have shelter on their head, where they can be protected by the elements. Is this what Imam Ali ﷺ described as an old woman with leprosy holding the intestines of a pig? I could hear your hearts going like this. Your hearts went. You know what he described? An old woman with leprosy holding the intestines of a pig. was that feeling that you just got. That attachment to that 10 pound, that in your heart you just sank. Oh my God. It's paper. If you just look at it as a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's paper. Print it. With some numbers on there and a picture. That's all it is. Yes, of course it's a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He gave the mind to the human being to be able to utilize as currency, to be able to barter or to exchange services and so forth. Yes, for a social system. It is a sign. But what is that world that is condemned by Imam Ali, by the Quran, by Hadith, and all of the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that feeling that you had inside. And that you cannot see. With me? So now we understand what is the world that has been condemned is actually the things that our eyes do not see. Whatever our eyes see is actually the creation and the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what our eyes cannot see. Can you see jealousy? Can you see jealousy? No. Who created jealousy? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. Who created jealousy? You and I did. Where does it exist? Inside of me. Can you see it? No. Can you see the signs of jealousy? Yes. But can you actually see it? No. So what is that world that's condemned? It's jealousy. Arrogance. Can you see arrogance? You can see the signs. You see that person. Especially you can see the signs of arrogance when a person shakes your hand. An arrogant person, the way they shake your hand, and a humble person, the way they shake your hands, you can tell. The body language doesn't lie. And this shaking of hands is actually so important that we have actually lost the actual essence of it. In the traditions we have, when two mu'mins, they shake hands, the longer that they hold their hands with each other, for that same amount of time their sins are being forgiven. If you want your sins to be forgiven, hold the hand of your mu'min brother. And keep holding it. And the longer you hold, the more sins are going to be forgiven. How do we shake hands? Like this. That's not shaking hands. It should be two hands. Hold the other person's hand with love. And know that as long as you will hold it, as long as your hands are in the hands of each other, your sins are being forgiven. Eh? Why do we do that in the end of the namaz of our salah? We shake each other's hands. It's an opportunity to have our sins forgiven. It's not just a custom. Why? Because the longer you will hold hands with each other, the longer you will hold it, the longer the jealousy and arrogance will go away. The more you hold it, the more love will fill your hearts for each other. And the less jealousy and arrogance you would have. And the more you hold it, the more love and unity that you will have. And the less angry you will be with that person. Right? So, you cannot see arrogance, but that arrogance is. Can you see the attachments to the world? You cannot. Right? So now, when you talk about hubb dunya, what do we mean here? The love of those things that your eyes cannot see. With me? Hubb dunya is the key or is the head of all of evil, of all of mistakes. So somebody, for example, you call somebody a worldly person, they take their phone out, and for example, this happens to be a Note 4 with Note 4 Edge. It's not that new anymore, but right. So they take out, But if somebody takes out a phone which is a flip phone, I'm not going to give my daughter to him. It's just as a flip phone. I'm going to give my daughter to someone who's holding a Note 7 or, Samsung S7 or something. Or iPhone 6S or whatever, 7. What is that? What is that person showing to you? Hubbud dunya. But this hubbud dunya is not of this phone, but that attachment and that sign that this phone has become in that person's mind who he or she created. Not God. Not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm wearing right? This is a symbol of the dress of the Holy Prophet. So when you look at me, you say, do I look like a worldly person or a religious person? Muslim. It's a simple question. Don't worry about the answer. Do I look like a worldly person or a religious person? Your answer should be a religious person. But if it is just the dress that makes me a religious person, and you can see the dress, it's not the dress that makes the man, right? Like some people wear this dress so that others can give them respect. Some wear this dress to give this dress respect. Some people put the abakaba and buy the amama from Walmart so that they can get respect from individuals. And some people wear this dress to give respect to this dress. There's a difference. So when you look at me, you say that I'm a religious person, but I could be a worldly person. How? If my heart is attached to that particular thing, or I have jealousy or arrogance, or the attachment to those things that you and I cannot see, then even if I'm wearing the dress, the symbolic dress of the Holy Prophet, I do not become a religious person. I'm still a worldly person. Why? Because the world that has been created by you and I cannot be seen by these eyes. So in reality now, if you want to have the definition of a religious person would be that individual who takes the means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, to the right way utilizes them, sees the utility and means of these things not as independent, but means towards that one end, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a religious person. And the one who confuses means with ends actually becomes a worldly person. Is that clear enough? This phone is means to something. It's not the end. If I make it the end, what will happen? This phone will actually become my God. And then what will happen? I will find it to be worthy of love, obedience, and worship. And then if I leave it at home, I will drive 25 miles, 35 miles back to go and get this phone. Why? Because I've gotten attached to it so much that it seems as if it is part of me. And if I don't have it, it seems as if I am empty. With me so far? So what is the difference between a mu'min, a believer, and a non-believer? The difference is that a believer sees this world as the beauty and the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as means to gain nearness to Him, to realize the greatness of His, and does not take these things as the end, but takes them as means. And if you do that, then in reality, what will happen is that every single living moment of yours that you are in this world, you will see these means only as means. Only as means. You will start seeing them as the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before it, you will see Allah. in it you will see Allah, and after you will see Allah. Right? So then the whole theory goes out of the door or the window. Now what is the definition of a religious person? And what is the definition of a worldly person? Now that you know the definition, you will not get confused. This line between world and the hereafter is drawn by you and I. It's not been drawn by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He has created is actually creation of beauty and mercy and love. It is us who draw that line. That this is world and this is not. You're going to work is not a worldly action. The only reason why it seems like a worldly action is because what you have inside that you have created. Otherwise, going to work is actually obedience and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Raising children is not a worldly thing. It's actually a worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how great of a worship it is that Ayatollah Khomeini, Imam Khomeini Rahmatullah said one day to his daughter, he said to her, she came in and said that my kids are making me really, really upset. And he said to her that, whatever reward you have of raising these children, give it to me. I will give you the reward of my worship. You can have the reward of my worship. Give me the reward of raising these children. Paying your bills, is that the worldly thing? Is it a worldly thing? No, it's not. Paying your bills to be able to take care of what is an obligation on you as a responsibility to your family is not a worldly thing. It's a worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With me? Because this yellow line, you and I have created. Okay, but this is the world and this is the akhirah. Still not clear? Okay. I don't know if you've been to Canada, but Niagara Falls has a border between Canada and America. And what you're doing is basically driving or walking, whichever way, and you drive and there comes a yellow line. And you say, okay, you have to stop now. Why? Because now you're about to enter into America. Okay? It's the same land. What's the difference between the asphalt here and after the yellow line? What's the difference? What's the difference between the earth here and the earth after the yellow line? It's the same, right? It's the same bridge. But when you're crossing it, they said this is the yellow line. Once you've crossed it, now you're in America. Who put this yellow line? We did. We divided humanity. We separated ourselves from each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not. Is that you are brothers and sisters? If not, in humanity you are. Because you are coming from the same father and mother. And then if you don't think of that, if your religion says that all of the Muslim brothers and sisters are your brothers and sisters, they are one. The Prophet has said they are part of one body. We're the ones who draw the yellow lines. Tu khoja hai, main Punjabi hu. You are this, you are that. You are Iraqi, I am this. We're the ones who have made it. All it was good for was just an introduction. Where are you from? For example, Pakistan. Where are you from? Afghanistan. That was all that it was good for. But we drew these yellow lines so much that we separated ourselves thinking that we are separate. We're not separate. We're living in the same earth. And then we get this idea about mind your own business. How can I mind my own business? You are my business. If you could imagine all of us in a boat and we start drawing these yellow lines. This is my line, this is your line, this is your line, this is your line. And then one person decided to make a hole in that boat. So what are you doing? Mind your own business. Well, I cannot mind my own business. You making a hole in this boat is my business. Just by drawing a yellow line does not mean that you are separate from me or that we are not in the same boat. It doesn't mean that. I am going to also drown, so you will. If you cannot see your own harm, I am letting you know that it is harmful for you. Today we do Amr bil Maruf and in Munkar the other person says, mind your own business. Well, you are my business. If your house gets corrupted, if your mind gets corrupted, if your family gets corrupted, if you get corrupted, that corruption is going to come to my house. That wrong, demented ideology is going to end up in my house. If I do not stop you from doing what you're doing, I am going to be ruined and you are going to be ruined. We as human beings, we think we are separate. We're not separate. We are one. In one part of the world, whatever is happening, it is going to destroy the rest of the world. And when we try to stop that, people say, mind your own business. It is our business. It is our business. And that is to save humanity. Imam Hussain went to correct what had gone wrong in the society because he understood that this nation of my father and my grandfather, if it is not corrected, this sort of demented ideology and this love of attachment of this world and all that has gone wrong in them is going to seep into the rest of the world. And today we don't. We just, they say Punjabiyon ka center hai, Khojon ka center hai, Lebanese ka hai, Afghaniyon ka hai, iska hai, uska. Whatever happens in one center is going to translate into the other. If you do not stop people from drinking the blood of animals and having this demented ideology about what their mazhab is, you think it's just going to remain in that particular city or center? It's going to seep over it and it's going to destroy everything else. Well, we don't realize that. If there is one sister that is not wearing the Islamic dress, which is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we do not ask her and we don't tell her to wear the Islamic dress, which is the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's going to seep over into the rest of the sisters. We cannot just say mind your own business. The sisters who come without hijab, without the proper dress of Islam, they are openly affecting, influencing the rest of the sisters. But if all of the sisters are wearing the Islamic dress, guess what will happen? They will influence everybody else. And slowly, slowly you will see that there will be no sister without hijab. Right? So it is our understanding that has gone wrong, that we are separate. We're not separate. We are the same. So when you talk about the world and the love of this world, stop thinking that it is money. Stop thinking that it is a house. Stop thinking that it is a car. Stop thinking that it is bills. Stop thinking that it is a phone. Stop thinking that it is a TV. Stop thinking all of that. These are not the world that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has condemned. It is that world that you and I have built with choice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has condemned. So, what is that inside? What is the raw material? One we told you is jealousy. The other is arrogance. The third is when means become the end. When means become the end. What is a car good for? Just a little bit. What is the car good for? Driving. What if you don't drive the car and just keep it in a showroom? Huh? What is that good for? Nothing. The car was made to get you from A to B. It wasn't made to collect it. You know how people have a collection of cars? They have this Lamborghini and then all the, and they're very proud that I have all of this collection. Well, Really, these things were made to drive, not to collect them. Right? Same example I'll give you with the religion. Quran was revealed to the Holy Prophet for the guidance of humanity. It was not revealed so that you and I can put it in a nice ghilaf cover and put it on top of the shelf and only take it out when somebody dies, or you want to know what your future holds. Right? Is that what Quran was made for? It wasn't made for that. Just like that car was not made for that. So inshallah, as we go along, we will try to explain to you a little bit more so that the choices that we are going to make now, we are going to be making them being aware. That which choice is going to make me a worldly person and which choice is going to make me a religious person. And when you look at Karbala, the reason why the atrocities were committed is because of the world that the enemies of Imam Hussein had created inside of him. Shimr had created this world inside based on jealousy, on arrogance. His means had become the end. When he was sitting on the chest of Imam Hussein said, "Do you not know me? Am I not the son of Imam Ali? Am I not the grandson of the Holy Prophet? Am I not the son of Bibi Fatima?" And Imam introduced himself, "Do you not know me?" He said, "I do." He said, "Then why are you doing this?" He said, "Because I have been promised the wealth and glamour of this world." If you and I build the same world inside of us that was built by the enemies of Imam Hussein as-salam, or that was built by the Kufis, or that were built by those individuals who left Imam Hussein in Makkah and in Medina, if we were to build that same world, what is the difference? What is the difference? When you look at the ones who were in the camp of Imam Hussein, their world was not built on jealousy, arrogance, and the end being the means. The means being the end. It wasn't built on that. It was built on obedience. It was built on humility. It was built on the submission to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even the children. When you look, even the children. When you hear the story of the sons of Muslim ibn Aqil, what did they say in the end? Say, "Let us pray namaz. Let us pray salah." With all of the difficulties that they had gone, the oppressor had asked, "Beg for your life." So we're not going to beg you for our life. You're not our creator. If you can, give us some time to do our salah. Well, does that show that even those children, their world was not built on the same things as you and I? And a brother seeing the severed head of his own brother. Could you imagine that? That in front of your eyes, your brother's head is severed and is thrown into the river. And those children in Karbala, Hazrat Muhammad, the sons of Bibi Zainab, what were their worlds made up of? On the last night, they're discussing with each other that when the morning comes, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. He says, "No, I'm going to go first." Ajib. These are young children. Young children. They're discussing about going, who have their whole life in front of them. They're discussing about sacrifice. That they're going to give their lives to protect the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what is their mother saying? It breaks your heart. What is this mother saying? This mother who had these beautiful children is saying to them that if you do not support Hussein tomorrow, you will not be my sons. You will not be my sons. If you do not sacrifice yourself, you are not my sons. Where are those mothers? Where are those mothers? These mothers who gave their children, who told them that if you do not go and do that sacrifice, I will not call you my son. Where are those mothers? May every mother be sacrificed on those mothers. From the heart of a mother to say that. And when the morning came, and Hazrat Muhammad would keep asking permission, give us the permission, give us the permission. We want to go, we want to go. And Imam Hussain kept on saying, how can I give you permission? You are children. You are children, the enemy in front of you, thousands of people with swords and with spears, with arrows. These are two little children asking permission. And then they went back. Bibi, Imam Hussain is not giving us permission. Mother, she is not giving us permission. And Bibi goes to Imam Hussain and says, look, have I ever asked you anything in this life? As a sister, have I asked you anything in this life? And Imam Hussain said, then, my brother, I'm asking you for the first time. I'm asking you for the first time, let my children go. Let them go. Let them go. Imam Hussain says, my sister, how can I deny the only request that you've ever made to me? These little children, they go in front of this army. They had the hearts of stones. They fought bravely. They fought bravely. Children fought bravely. And as they fell, and look at the task of Imam Hussain, how difficult it was to bring his nephews. If you have nephews, you know that they are kind of like your own children. You happen to love them. And when they are the children of a sister like Zainab, what was the condition of the heart of Imam Hussain? Imam Hussain went, picked up the bodies of Honor Muhammad, and they brought them to the tent. What was the conditions of the rest of the children who saw those bodies? The children of Karbala saw these children, they were with us. This Honor Muhammad are gone. And what was the condition of the mother? The mother went in sajda. Bibi Zainab went in sajda and said, oh Allah, thank you for accepting my sacrifice. For the sake of Bibi Zainab's heart, that was the heart of a mother. For the sake of those little children who sacrificed to protect their religion you and I have. For the sake of each pain and each wound on the bodies of all Muhammad. Oh Allah, we beseech you to forgive our sins. To give us the opportunity to submit to your will. For us to be not of the worldly people, but for us to be your slaves. Oh Allah, purify our hearts from all of the attachments that we have built. You are the most merciful God. Out of your love, bless us the opportunity for our children to have the courage of Honor Muhammad, So that that day when Imam of the time comes, the Hussein of the time comes, our mothers will let go of them and they will be happy to support the Imam of the time. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-Asr. إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.